just met with a client in Jersey. I won't say their name, but they just did a $50 million exit just from their call center. So, in the home services industry, a lot of companies are built with door knocking. Challenge with that is it's a revolving door.
How did you actually get into this world?
I started a bunch of marketing agencies and we had over 100 clients and we were generating several hundred paid leads a day, but we had a very big challenge because we were in the real estate space. So the average length of time from lead to successful transaction was 12 to 18 months. So we were forced to create a call center to keep people paying our monthly retainer.
The issue a lot of companies have is that at one point, their call center sucks. How do you help them grow their call centers?
One of the biggest challenges is when you're generating a high volume of leads, a lot of them go to the wayside, right? So that's where we come in. So we build a call center not only to generate new business, whether that's outbound cold calling, but also monetizing your existing business.
And I feel like this is where 95% of call centers aren't taking advantage of the post sale. You sell the contract, then you forget about the customer. But if you follow up with them, that's not just a cost, that turns into a revenue center.
Oh, I've seen countless single deals turn into 10 plus deals.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I think as media buyers, sometimes you get like, oh, let me take every single fucking deal I can.
Yeah.
You got to take the right deals that'll give you the most bang for your buck.
So every time, we've given a bit of a discount or a cheaper package, almost every single time we got screwed in some way, whether these people are just incredibly demanding, whatever that looked like. So don't deviate from what you offer.
Get ready to level your shit up with the LFG Show. We travel the globe to bring you heavy hitters from all walks of life. We've been talking some serious business, from the best digital marketers, government contracting experts, to top athletic and celebrity doctors. We've got it all covered. We're talking to guys with cash in for billions with a B. And the best thing is, we're just getting started. So hold on tight. We're about to crank it up a notch. Get ready for next level networking and masterminds within the LFG community. Scared money don't make no money or honey. Hit the subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment, and let's fucking go.
Guys, it just doesn't stop with the heavy hitter rotation. We got somebody that's very well known in the call center industry and a lot of roofing and solar companies. I'm glad to bring him into our audience. A lot of our audience are media buyers here, so I'm not sure they know what you do or that you have these services available. But guys, as media buyers, as people that generate leads, you might have the best fucking lead in the world, but guess what? If the call center doesn't know what the hell they're doing, they're not dialing properly, that lead turns to shit. Doesn't make any sense, right? So the point of the story is that we got Jason Shouldice here. This guy's an expert at building and scaling high-performing call centers. I've referred a lot of clients to him. Very, very happy with him. So Jason, man, it's a fucking pleasure having you.
What's going on? Thanks for having me. What's going on, audience? How are you guys today? Here at RoofCon 2024 here in beautiful sunny Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, and shout out to Hunter Ballou. He let us use this whole area. Yeah,
thank you, Hunter. Wherever you are,
he's out there somewhere. We'll probably get him on the show tomorrow. But guys, if a lot of you guys, some of you doing home improvement, some of you aren't. Some of you done solar. Man, it's a big market. We started off in solar in 2016. I think we sold $50 million worth of solar leads, right, to all the big players. Solar had a contraction, which I'm sure you saw.
Oh, yeah.
And we tried roofing a year and a half ago. We couldn't crack it, and we cracked it in May, man. Nice. And now we're doing great. We're happy with it. Our buyers are happy. So the same template we use for solar, we're trying to use here with roofing and home improvement, man. Yep. So, I mean, I don't even know where to start because there's so much going on. But we both come from the call center world. We've both been doing solar, home improvement, man. So, I mean, where do you want to begin, man?
Well, start at the beginning, and I agree with your sentiments. I haven't been in solar quite as long as you. I've been in it for 4 years and definitely saw a huge market shift a couple of years ago. And we also started to heavily invest in roofing. We saw it as a much more stable industry than solar. And solar, it's always the same old thing. Finance companies not paying, installers going bankrupt. Roofing is a very tangible product that every home needs, and it's almost guaranteed every 20 years you're going to need your roof replaced. Yeah. So a lot of people see roofing as something that they really need versus solar, which is kind of more of a luxury, almost novelty. So I'm with you exactly. Roofing's been great to us. We still do a ton of solar. I know you still do a ton of solar, but definitely enjoy what we're doing in the roofing segment.
Yeah, and what I'd say, with that being said, I feel like the home improvement side is more like old money versus new money. Like the solar was a new money. People weren't handling this stuff right. They became like excellionaires. And it's easy. If you make 100 sales in solar, that's like $3 million a month. You get to 1,000, you 10x that, right? And I've seen that happen. So they start spending all this money, and then what happens is you pay out your salespeople, then there's clawbacks. So like, damn, you're stuck. So, and plus the financing dried up, all the working capital dried up. So whereas roofing and home improvement, this has been around for decades and decades and decades. These guys already have 9 figures in the bank. Some have 10 figures in the bank. So you're less likely to have issues when you're working with those companies.
Exactly. And correct me if I'm wrong, in solar, I don't think they're putting mechanics liens on homes like they are with roofing.
Correct.
So you're almost guaranteed to get paid with roofing, right?
Yeah.
With solar, I mean, somebody defaults on their payment, the finance company's out the money.
Yeah.
And that's how, for those of you watching, most of you probably already realize that's how most solar deals are done. They're financed. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And then, so another thing I want to talk about, obviously we're talking about home improvement, solar leads, right? All these companies, in order for them to grow, all these big companies that are in solar, you know, the SunPro got bought out by ADT.
Yep.
You talk about the Sunruns, the Freedoms. You're talking about all these big players, the Anderson Windows. They all buy leads, right?
Yep.
They all need leads to have keep their salespeople fed. The issue a lot of those companies have is that, at one point, their call center sucked.
Yeah.
They're buying all these leads. They're not calling right away. And that's where you come into play, right? So can you explain, how do you help them grow their call centers?
Sure. The challenge with leads, so I've led some pretty big sales teams over the years. I started off owning a marketing agency, and then I built a call center about 10 years ago for that marketing agency. So one of the biggest challenges is when you're generating a high volume of leads, a lot of them go to the wayside, right? Have you ever seen Yukon Gold Rush?
Yeah.
So you know that they have this hopper system, right? You load the dirt in the hopper, and the hopper separates the gold from the dirt. But the challenge is if the hopper's not tuned properly, a lot of the gold just falls right out the back and falls into the tailings pile. Same idea with leads. So companies are spending hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars per year generating these leads, but they're not monetizing them properly. So that's where we come in. So we build a call center not only to generate new business, whether that's outbound cold calling, but also monetizing your existing business, whether that's a lead channel from PPC leads, whether that's door knocking leads, whether that's your database. So we're able to take all of your leads and do a true two-way integration with your CRM, no matter where that lead is. So a lot of the times, if a sales rep is well fed, let's say they're getting 10 appointments, 15 appointments a week, after a year, they'll have 50 to 100 potential deals. But the challenge with sales reps is they're only focusing on their hottest deals, right? So now about 80% of their deals are falling to the wayside. Having a call center and setting rules saying that if this lead isn't touched by a salesperson after 2 weeks and it's in a hot lead funnel, now your call center could take over and aggressively follow with that lead. Now, another great thing about call centers is after the sale's done, to ensure, if we're talking in a roofing context, to ensure the actual roof gets installed, it's really important to follow up with the customer after the sales process is done, after the contract is signed. If we're working in an insurance claim, there's a lot of steps that need to happen before the go-ahead is done for that roof. So having a call center synced to your CRM, no matter where they are in the pre-sales or post-sales process, and all of that's automated. Now, the great news is, to put that into numerical format, almost every company that we work with when we build a call center is able to convert 30% or more their leads into deals throughout all the slippage that's happening across companies. So we've seen it time and time again. Companies doing $2 million a year to enterprise level companies doing 30, 40, even $50 million a year. There's so much slippage that happens, and that's where a call center comes in.
There's a new endeavor called Roofs in the Box. It's just, man, from day one, it's taken off.
When I first started getting into the roofing industry, what was happening was my fixed costs were always there. And so for me, I was looking at how can we kind of, one, save on these costs, and then two, how do I not lay people off during down times? But also maybe even the ability to pocket more money during the slow season or even the peak season. Since we've done this before, like with our lead gen companies where we have virtual staffing and from Argentina or Colombia, I'm like, why don't we do the same thing in the construction business? Now, once we figured it out, so we reduced their fixed cost by 70%. And so now during the downtime, they have real seasoned veteran type of players. But during the uptime, they pocket 70% of their operational costs are now going back in their pocket. And then when it's time to scale, they have the back end prepared, already ready to go to help them lift off. Depending on what state you're in, you're averaging about 12.5% on what you pay out on taxes, insurance, all the different insurances that you have to pay out, right? So yeah, you don't have to pay out unemployment, you don't have to pay out FICA insurance, Medicare, Social Security, the things that business owners have to eat.
Roofs in the Box is not just limited to roofing or home improvement companies.
You can use it for any services, right? You can use it for IT. We use them internally for data sales, for hygiene, for analytics. It doesn't even matter what the vertical is.
It's like business in the box at the end of the day.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you said a lot. The slippage is a big thing. You said something I didn't even think about, and I feel like this is where 95% of call centers aren't taking advantage of the post-sale.
Yep.
Everyone wants to get the sale. And you see that in solar. get the sale, sign the contract. And that's one reason a lot of these companies went out of business because so they have a power home. And they were selling, there was like, oh, you can talk about that for days, but there was a lot of BS that happened there. And then what happened was you sell the contract, then you forget about the customer. But if you follow up with them, that's not just a cost, that turns into a revenue center. Because I think a lot of these companies are focused on sales. They see, oh, why am I going to follow up? The deal is done. We follow up for good customer service to give you a good review. And guess what? Then you get referrals. Right? Exactly. Now instead of having one and done, that one and done could turn into one and then some.
Oh, I've seen countless single deals turn into 10+ deals.
Yeah.
It's incredible, right? And as you said, that's where a lot of people don't even realize what a call center could do, because typically in a home services configuration, whether it's roofing, solar, windows, siding, after that sale's done, you have a project manager who's manually going into the CRM and calling people kind of haphazardly. With a call center, let's say that, we've signed a contract to sell a new roof and we need to schedule an installation date. If I call somebody right now, they're 9 times out of 10, they're not going to answer, right? So having a call center paired to the CRM, the project manager presses one button. Let's say you have 200 jobs that need to be dealt with in some way or another, no matter where they are in that stage. Now the CRM is synced to the call center. The project manager has access to all that information. And as you said it, way higher reviews, way higher referral, way higher customer satisfaction, and a way higher realization rate of the job actually happening. Because especially in solar as an example, right? We're having a 70 or 30% cancellation rate. You're only realizing—
I've seen some as high as 50%.
I've seen as high as 50. I've seen it even worse. The industry average is only a 70% realization rate. So a lot of people don't realize if they have that call center aspect, that's how you can realize 80, 85, sometimes even 90%, plus the referrals, plus the reviews, right? Where a lot of people are missing. And not only that, being able to see, and hear from the customers as it's happening and getting that feedback. How is my company performing? Right? I'm going to get real-time feedback. Oh, the customer is unhappy about the site inspection. The customer is unhappy about the inspector. The customer is unhappy about the salesperson. So having that call center is really going to allow you to really touch your customers so much more than sending a text or having an email sent to them, right? Communication, via voice is the number one way to do business. And if you can't see somebody in person, a phone call is the next way to do it.
Yeah. You know what it comes down to as a business owner? It comes down to trying to get an edge in one way or another, right? You come to these shows, you're hoping to make a contact to give you a little edge, maybe get a new deal or whatever. You try different ad angles to try to get an edge, see what hurts. What hits and what doesn't hit, what connects, what converts. The call center could give you the biggest edge. And I tell you what, I've been, man, the first call center I really saw blow up and where I really learned all my shit was in 2005 at a student loan consolidation company. Yeah.
Damn. And back when you're dialing rotary phones?
No. I'll tell you a funny story, bro. I was the first person they put on a predictive dialer.
No way.
I don't even know how we were dialing. I used to be a bomb broker. We had to just dial manual, 300 calls a day, or else you couldn't fucking leave. That's how serious it was. But when I went to this place, I was the one that dialed the quickest. I would do $500 in a day, right? And I had good conversion, good everything.
$500 manually. That's impressive.
Yeah.
So my sales reps, I have to push them to make $200 a day.
Yeah.
Right. Not inside the call center when they're dialing manually from the CRM. That's impressive.
Yeah. That was my tops. I always did over 300. Wow. One day I was kind of I was on a mission to beat this other guy. But the bottom line is that they put me and another guy in a predicted dial, and I was pissed. I'm like, this isn't gonna dial faster than me. And bro, you can't compete, right? So that's how it shows you how fucking old I am. 2005, and man, it was great because now my production tripled on the predictive dialer, right? But the point is, we're always looking for an edge, right? So the dialer gave you the edge. But the reason we did so well in student loan consolidation, we had a good dialer, good cadence, good tech, great call center manager, great morale, and a great product. It all came together. Yep. So the point is, you had all the ingredients. So everyone that I've seen be successful, from that company or to solar companies, even the health I helped build a call center in the health surgical side, to roofing, to energy. They all had a good call center. That gives you the edge. And that's how those companies have gone from, doing 10 million a year in revenue to 500 million to getting bought out for $1 billion. Would you agree? I think that's the secret, is that call center. You get that piece done, bro, it's off to the freaking races.
Yep. I actually just met with a client in Jersey. I won't say their name, but they just did a $50 million exit just from their call center. The call center was driving 90% of their business growth. And then the result of that, they were getting the referrals, but the call center drove all of their growth, right? So, in the home services industry, a lot of companies are built with door knocking, right? Yeah. They have teams with door knocking. Challenge with that is it's a revolving door. So, you set up 10 guys at the start of the month go door knocking. You might have 2 or 3 at the end of the month. With a call center, you're able to reach several more people than on the doors, right? On the doors, you're knocking. You might talk with 20, 30, 40 people a day. You sit in a seat inside a call center and dial for about 7 hours, you're going to speak with 2, maybe even 300 people, right? So the amount of exposure. And as you said, a lot of companies might come here, they're looking for a magic bullet, but it's already right in front of them, right? A lot of companies, they come to us and they want more opportunities. But once we do a deep dive into how they're managing their leads, how the leads are coming in, response times, cadence in terms of follow-ups, how things are rotting, usually all they need is actually already inside their CRM. So why not take that, unlock all those extra opportunities, see if you can even handle those opportunities, right? Because the odds are your sales team can't even handle those, and then look at creating a call center to create more outbound opportunities, or pair it with PPC leads, or pair it with your company and buy leads, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But most people don't realize the gold mine they already have, but their sales reps aren't trained well enough. Not the company's fault by any chance. They don't know any better, right? Sales reps aren't trained well enough. They get blinders for the hottest deal. So why not send all of that to the call center and have that handle it?
Yeah, you made me think of a good example. We have a client in solar who they had the suspicion that their reps weren't dialing the records well. They paid someone, they bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of real-time leads. They weren't hitting their KPI goals. So we said, give us those 30-day, 60-day, give those to us. We'll call them, we'll revitalize those leads. So we did a deal with them. They paid us on an hourly, then gave us a performance basis. Man, they said they had 100,000 records. It wound up being like 20,000 is what it was. Wasn't a huge amount. But you wouldn't believe, they got 12 sales off of that, was turned into like 400,000 or 500,000 in revenue. And like the ROI for them with us was incredible. But that's the proof in the pudding as to what you're saying. Those leads were dormant. They were sitting there. And they keep buying more and more and more leads. Meanwhile, you have 500,000 sitting there. And it took us like a week to generate that for them.
And I've seen lists that we've beaten all to hell. I mean, we've called them 50, 60 times, and we're still setting appointments. Because maybe somebody's on vacation for 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe, they lost their phone. I mean, there's so many different scenarios, but you don't have the ability to dial leads 50 times without having a call center. It'll just never happen. Right. So it's amazing how much you can actually take, how much blood you can actually take out of the stones. It's wild.
It's
wild,
really
but you'll never have it with the tech. The challenge is there's so many great CRMs out there, right? Salesforce, Acculinks, Job Nimbus, these are all great CRMs. The number one thing though, is people need to be able to dial leads rapidly. That's what all these CRMs are missing. So we have our own contact center solution that integrates with all the leading CRMs. We have yet to encounter a CRM we can integrate with. And that basically takes your CRM and supercharges it. So that's something that CRMs are missing, is having a really good contact center inside of it.
Yeah, I love it. I always say it's a contact sport. You made a good, a good analysis of the door knocking. You're only knocking so many doors, right? Physically. And it burns you out.
It burns you out.
I did it one time for my aunt had me knocking doors for an election.
It's tough.
Bro, that was hard, man. That was the hardest thing I ever did. Like, you're nervous, but there's people who are gifted at it, but you burn out, right? When you have the call center, it's still a revolving door, but not as much. It doesn't revolve as fast. And if you have the right management team, then you could keep people incentivized. And if you're working the leads properly and they're getting paid properly like they should because they're talking to enough people, it's going to be the best of all worlds.
Well, and one of the things that we do is we incentivize people very well compared with, what an agent might normally make. How do we do that? We leverage nearshore talent, right? So we used to go look at Philippines, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. We used to hire tons of people from there. Really great, hardworking people. The challenge is that the average American consumer receives 20 to 30 unsolicited phone calls a week. So when the average consumer is picking up the phone and is listening to somebody with a very thick foreign accent, and they can tell very clearly this person isn't from here, right? So at that point, they just hang up. So you're losing a lot of conversion. So we recently switched everything over to Mexico. And wow, half the agents lived here in the US for 20, 30 years. They understand the customs, the colloquialisms, the sayings, these subtle things which you and I can communicate and laugh about, but people from overseas can't. And I know you use nearshore as well. Your call centers in Colombia, right?
It works, man. Mexico, I've always had good experience in Mexico for the most part. And the thing is that, you're right. There's a lot. They're familiar with American culture. And a lot. You mentioned the colloquialism. They may have lived in California. They know the Dodgers. Dodgers are on the World Series. They're playing California, so it just helps seal the deal a little bit better. But I have noticed that too. Very hardworking. I mean, I'm a big fan of Latin America. It's just it's a sleeping giant. Man. It's waking up right now.
Absolutely.
Is what's going on.
Yeah, I think a lot of companies don't have the experience outsourcing just because they're naive. they've just never heard about it, never had the opportunity. Almost every company, so we take 50 sales calls a week selling our services. Almost every company that we speak with has never used a nearshore assistant, whether it's call center, accounting, project manager, programmer, they've never used it. And what companies don't realize is that there's so much talent, not only on a nearshore, but global level, where you could pay 1/3 to 1/5 of what you pay somebody here locally, and you'll have somebody of equal, if not better talent. So I think a lot of companies are missing out on that, being able to use nearshore or even offshore agents. I mean, we still hire people from overseas. That being said, why focus on overseas when you have 100 million people in Mexico and several hundred million people in Latin America?
Yeah. Yeah, they work hard. They're hungry, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's awesome. Yeah, we could talk about this stuff for days. I want to shift a little bit, though. Let's talk about, how did you actually get into this world? Because you know what I feel like call centers, man, I know a lot of people have been successful. Hey, we got the music coming out. It feels like we're in a call center.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
But what I was going to say is that
less drugs, though.
But anyway, like the call center is almost like a rite of passage. Like anyone that's been in sales, I mean, maybe it's either door knocking or it's being in the call center, picking up the phone. Right. And I know a lot of successful people. They start off on the phone, getting their asses chewed out, but they stuck with it. They figure out, and they all became like a top seller. And then by doing that, they got that entrepreneurial spirit. Like, I want to do this shit on my own, man. So I'm curious if you had a similar experience. Like, what's been your whole history?
You know what's funny is I actually started working in a call center when I was 16.
Wow.
Yeah. So you said
awesome,
2005.
I started when I was 23.
I'm 42. I'm dating myself now. 16 was 26 years ago. So whenever the heck that was, 1998.
Wow.
So yeah, I was doing inbound calls, doing tech support. So I did that for several years, and then I decided that selling weed was more lucrative. So that was, early 20s, figuring out.
Is this in Canada?
This is in Canada,
okay.
Yeah, exactly. Don't have any more weed. But anyway, so.
Well, now it's legal.
Well, now it's legal, exactly. It killed the market.
That's what happened. Yeah.
It's legal now in New York. It's legal now everywhere, except for Florida.
Doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was an affiliate marketer, and that's how we first met each other. I think we've known each other for like 15 years.
Yeah.
Because how long ago were you first going to the affiliate summits?
Oh, no, I started like in 2016.
You're a newcomer.
Yeah.
Oh, I was in the back in the day, back in the day, Darren Blatt, back in the day.
The affiliate balls.
Going to the affiliate balls. I think I started in 2010.
Okay.
Affiliate marketing.
But it probably wasn't even affiliate. I think it was something else. Ad Tech.
Yeah, it was before that.
There was another name. Yeah.
I was actually a publisher for Commission Junction in probably 1999.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I grew up all around all that. I started a bunch of marketing agencies, and I had a really good marketing agency, and we had over 100 clients, and we were generating several hundred paid leads a day. But we had a very big challenge because we were in the real estate space. So the average length of time from lead to successful transaction was 12 to 18 months.
Wow.
So the challenge working with the real estate agents is they didn't know how to work leads, and 90% of people don't in general. It's industry agnostic.
Yeah.
So we were forced to create a call center to keep people paying our monthly retainer. We had to basically force them to get results. So that was the first time I actually owned and operated a call center. This is many years after I worked in the call centers. We saw tremendous success with that company. We sold it 4 years ago. And then I did a lot of consulting in the marketing agency space. And I had a few colleagues say, hey, can you help in our call center? Hey, can you build us a call center? So fast forward to today, we've built almost 250 call centers, around 130 in roofing and solar, and over 100 in pretty much every home service you can imagine. We work with law firms, but a lot of marketing agencies as well. So that's kind of how we started. So it was interesting. Solar is one of our biggest call center segment. It was interesting coming from the real estate space, where it was an average transaction time of 12 to 18 months versus solar, where you could set an appointment and go close it that day, and maybe not get all your money in a week, but at least get several $1,000s. So that was kind of a mind shift that happened for us. It's like, wow, there are other things other than real estate that can actually pay you very quickly. And I think roofing, people are very, very blessed to be in roofing, because the turnaround time for the final project completion is much faster than solar, right? So you could turn around your money. If you invest $1 today, you can get $3, $4 back, in 30 to 60 days. I mean, tell me a stock that can do that. On command. Sure, we've had a few NVIDIAs and some fun stuff happen, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, it's been an interesting shift,
Yeah, and the call center doctors, right?
That's our company, CC Docs.
Where did that whole name come from? I mean, to tell us about that.
Sure. So I was originally the call center doctor, right? And after a year, we grew very rapidly. We have around 140 employees now. So I wanted something after about a year, which was much bigger than the call center doctor. But I also wanted something that was kind of catchy and brandable, where people can really think, hey, that's kind of cool, right? That stands out there, right? So rather than being the call center doctor, I said, we need something that, because I'm positioning the company to exit, we need something, that doesn't revolve around my face, right? So rather than being the call center doctor, we became the call center doctors, and that's how it was born.
Yeah.
I always wanted something kind of catchy, right?
Well, it is. And that makes it go into the next. I don't know where your guys are at, but you're very you stand out, right?
Sure.
And the way you dress, right? And it's funny because I didn't know you were here, and I think I saw you here last year too, but I was back there somewhere. And then I see these guys, and they were dressed really well.
Sure.
Got like Louis Vuitton shoes, sharp dressed guys, but they got like paper on, like I love Mexico, roofing leads, stuff like that. I'm like, bro, are you guys with Jason Shouldice? We are. Where is he? Like, because that's the first time I saw you on one of the shows. That's how you were branded, man. But at the end of the day, it stands out. It's catchy.
Absolutely.
Like, we probably wouldn't be talking right now. We could have missed each other.
Sure.
Because I don't
think that would happen. Come on.
Probably, stuff doesn't happen.
Sometimes I go to New Jersey and I hear you yelling outside my window.
That's true. But anyway, you get what I'm saying? Like, the point is that helped at least collapse timeframes. Yeah. Is what it did. Because then you came by and like, hey, let's do a quick interview. Let's do a podcast.
Sure.
But that's the key of branding and standing out. Because how many people are in this crowd here? Thousands. Oh, absolutely. And your two guys stand out for sure.
Absolutely. Man. Well, I think that, one of the biggest things with marketing is not being afraid to do something different, right? And the challenge with most people is I think we all have an ego and pride. And I think that's, one of our biggest killers, right? So if you truly don't care what anyone says, if you're wearing a bunch of stickers all over you, then you're invincible, right? Yeah, the reality is when we put our stickers on, so we adorn ourselves stickers head to toe, we'll get 30 leads in an hour. 5 guys, we'll probably get more leads than 80% of the vendors here who've paid for booths, right? Simply because we're doing something different. Yeah. People are stopping for pictures and selfies, right? How could branding get any better than that when people actually want to stop you just because you're wearing a sticker on yourself?
Yeah. 100%. I love it, man. That's what it comes down to. You got to separate yourself from the herd, and that's how you do it, man. So let me ask you, going back to the call center side of things, what do you think? And I know we talked about it a little earlier. There's, to me, with the call center and the sales org, inside sales org, there's like 8 or 10 different pieces of the puzzle. There might be more, right?
Sure.
What do you think is a great separator between a good call center and a fantastic, phenomenal call center? What's that make or break?
That's a great question. So, having built so many of these, one of the biggest challenges with owning a call center, a lot of companies, so not only do we build them from scratch, but we could solve for existing call centers. One of the biggest challenges with companies is they've built their first call center, but they're only inferring things from what they're seeing. So what I mean by that is a lot of companies that built their first call center, has been in business for a few years, but they're only learning from what they see. Mm-hmm. Having built a couple hundred of them, we've seen the best of what can happen, we've seen the worst of what can happen. So we've taken all of those things and put it into our system. So what makes an excellent call center? The software that you use, right? A lot of companies here use CRMs, yet almost all their leads are rotting. And I'm not only referring to the roofing industry, it's every industry. It's an industry agnostic problem, right? So everyone's using a CRM, but very few people are using it for their potential. Same idea with call center software. There's some great platforms out there. We've used them all. We've migrated all people from all of them. We've settled on a platform that you were probably using back in the day called Beachy Dial. Yeah. But what makes us different is it's just like Salesforce. You can buy Salesforce, or you can spend $1 million and customize it to your needs. So we spent the last 4 years, we have 10 full-time developers, and we've done this heavily modified version of it. Now, what does that mean? Higher connectivity with the leads, better cleanliness with phone numbers, more integration with the CRMs, completely customized GUI, and we've really made it our own, similar to how these companies put their own layer on top of Salesforce. So software is one thing, right? Obviously talent, right? Where are we hiring from? How are we hiring? What did the interview process look like? How quickly can we get them onboarded? What expectations are set? All of these things that really make a good agent. How's the pay compensation? How's the stability? How are they treated? How's the ongoing training? What are the expectations? What is the bonus structure, which falls under pay, right? But really gamifying and incentivizing them to be able to earn more, right? We try to pay a little bit lower of a base, but really incentivize them to get actions out of it. So all these things and more, right? How is the call center communicating with the CRM? Is it just uploading new appointments, or are all of the pipeline stages synced? like I mentioned earlier, if a sales rep doesn't call a lead after 2 weeks and that lead is in a pipeline that should be called every 2 days, the sales rep should lose that lead, right? That should go back to the call center and then reassign to another sales rep. It's very clear the sales rep is too busy, doesn't care, whatever the reason might be, right? So all of these factors and more go into having a successful call center. Another big thing that I see a lot of companies missing out is ongoing training, right?
That's huge.
During the first 90 days, we make sure that every single agent is trained one-on-one for half an hour a day. Then we can see very quickly, how's their script adherence? How's their product knowledge, right? How's their opener? How's the rapport building? We can see very quickly what their kryptonite is and then work to resolve it. Because it's one thing if somebody, isn't performing up to par, but really wants to improve. And it's another thing if somebody isn't performing up to par, but isn't coachable.
Yeah.
So by implementing a one-on-one training for half an hour a day, you're going to see very quickly whether or not that person is worth investing with long-term or just cutting them loose. And that's where so many companies are missing the mark, having that ongoing training, especially for the first 90 days.
I know a lot of you guys are doing pay per call. A lot of you guys have call centers. We got AI in the house. We got Neil Billick. He's the founder and the CEO of All Rise AI. They're doing big things. I'm a user of his service.
We are coming in immediately 4Xing contact rates for clients. What we found in my BPO when I ran it and deployed the AI was we had 30-second wait times before the deployment between connections. And my guys were making about 500 connections a day. Times 30 seconds, we were wasting 250 minutes a day per head in a call center.
That's 4 hours. That's half
4 hours,
day. Yeah.
half their day, or half their wages being spent on them waiting for a call.
Yeah.
The reason your wait time's high is when you're calling out, you have an abandon rate you have to stay under of 3%. That's programmed in your dialer.
If the AI is weeding that out, and I think that's the benefit, it's collapsing time frames, it's helping your top producers produce, which is what you want them to do.
People are afraid AI is going to replace call center agents, and it may, but right now, use it to maximize your human resource. So leveraging it for the tools it can be to do exactly what you're saying. Let the humans do what they can do best. Let the AI get cursed out.
You're right. And I think even beyond the 90 days,
Sure.
you got to always, people go back to old habits. You break an old habit, then you get back. You know how it is.
Oh,
with
yeah,
calls.
you regress, like going to the gym.
Yeah, something, man. And we talked about,
you regress,
we joked around like, I don't know, like people drinking or doing drugs and call centers.
Sure.
That happens. It's like,
Sure.
it's
a stressful job.
It's a stressful job.
I mean, sales is a very high incident of alcohol abuse, drug abuse. It is a very, very tough job in general, right? You have to be just a little crazy or very crazy to be in a sales field. It's not disputed.
You're dealing with rejection all day long, man. For every, you talk to 70 people, you're going to get no, fuck you, no, fuck you, still do this. I remember I think my first ever sales call ever when I was 23, this guy told me to go get a real job.
Right.
And it stung me, man. Fuck that guy, man. But like, then I stayed on a little bit of roll, but like I went home that night thinking, damn, what the hell? I went to this college, went to NYU on best business schools. Why the hell am I cold calling? The guy started questioning my life, man.
Right,
and then all I had to do was get one sale. Like, yo, fuck that guy. I'm not gonna care about the guy anymore. But there's a lot. You're dealing with a lot of ups and downs, and then you get fucking crazy for it. But I think that's where a good trainer, a good manager, some charismatic person that can help, almost like a therapist.
Yep.
Those people become like therapists in your sales orgs. They're making sure that everyone's where they need to be. And that's what happens in professional sports.
Yep.
It's a mental sport when you're doing sales. At the end of the day, each really good team that's won a championship or gone far, they have the head coach or they have someone that's like the backbone, right?
Yep.
So I think that's another element, aside from the ongoing training. If that's a piece of the puzzle, who's the lifeblood? Who's the lightning, a lightning cord of the freaking call center?
I'm not a big sports fan, but I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I mean, accountability is something that people need, right? Even as business owners and business leaders, we still need people to hold us accountable.
Yeah.
Like I have a personal trainer. He trains with me 4 to 5 times a week. I frankly wouldn't go, right? So that's a degree of accountability.
Yeah.
So I think not only do we need to hold the agents accountable, but also the managers and other people involved in the operation.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk again about call center doctors. So let's say I'm a roofing company or solar company, whatever I am, right? And I have 10 people on my team. I'm doing some sales. Maybe I'm making 2, 3, 4 million a year. And I want to grow. Like, what's the step-by-step process? Let's say I hear about you. And by the way, you've got a great Facebook group. What's the name of the Facebook group?
It's Sales Talk with Roofing and Solar Pros. We have around 22,000 members. A lot of people in the sales and roofing industry, from sales reps to project managers to electricians to owners, really everyone coming together and talking about sales.
It's a great community. If you're in sales, solar, roofing, whatever, join the group. It's amazing. I've been in there. I posted in there a few times. Great community built. But let's say they find about you through there or whatever, and they want to join. What's the process? I mean, they contact your team, and how's it working?
Yeah.
What's the onboarding process?
We have a lot of different ways you can reach out to us. Most people reach out to us via our website, ccdocs.com. You can hit the contact form there. You can book an appointment there. Our onboarding process is very simple. It takes about 3 weeks to build a call center. There's a lot of things happening simultaneously. We have a great client success team who will walk either you as the owner, or if you're having somebody else implement it on your team, whether it's a VP of sales or a project manager, and we walk you through all the steps. So not only do we build the call center, we do the recruiting. One of the things that we pride ourselves is updating you daily as the call center is being built. So not only are you going to be on a Slack channel, but also getting an email so you can see step by step what's happening. There's nothing worse than paying, a substantial amount of money to a company and having zero visibility. So, the onboarding, so, it takes about 10 hours. It's about a 3-week process, and there's a lot of people involved from our team, and we can work, with somebody from your team, or as an owner, if you want to be involved, we'll work with you.
Mm-hmm. Great. And I was going to say one thing too. You've been doing this for a number of years, right? And I haven't seen one negative thing about you online, a negative review. That's something I pride myself on.
I have a lot of enforcers that delete things.
but it's really a testament to doing the right thing, because bad news travels really fast.
Very quickly.
And I'm sure when you're dealing with business people, I mean, there's a lot of stress. It's almost like a business owner. Your life's almost like you're bipolar. One day you're happy, next second it switches so fast. Oh, yeah. And you go from happy to sad really fast. I have a campaign that's kicking ass for me right now, Paper Call. 2 days ago, I'm like, what is going on with Paper Call? Do we even want to do this anymore? I really had a team like, I'm tired of this.
I want to start a restaurant.
Yesterday, we just cranked, and today we're even doing better. I'm gonna have my best day ever in Paper Call today. Right?
Congratulations in the history of your company.
In the history, in that Paper Call vertical, right? You. So anyway, with that being said, though, 48 hours ago, I'm ready to fucking kill Paper Call. I'm like, fuck this. I'm tired. But what I'm trying to say is that you onboard a client, right? And maybe they expect the world from you. I guess, how do you manage the expectation? Because again, call center to me is like the silver bullet between success and failure, good to great.
Right.
And I've seen that happen. I've seen amazing stuff happen. So how do you manage the expectation that, hey, you're going to get this in 3 weeks, but this isn't going to, it's going to take a little bit of time. Right? And when do they actually see that ROI?
So, one of the nice things that we're really blessed with is, we're dealing with a very established business owner in most cases. So because we offer a premium service, the expectations are typically set during the sales process. Because it is so premium, I think we have a lot more leeway in terms of understanding, right? When you deal with people that don't have a lot of money, and I get it, I've been there before. If somebody pays you $1,000, they're really determined to have that be successful, right? They're really counting on it. When you're dealing with businesses who have, several $1 million a year income or tens of millions of dollar income, it's very relative to it, right? So I think that's one of the reasons why we've done, so well, A, by choosing to service a very high level of clientele, and B, why I don't think there's anything negative about us, because, we've had some failures, right? There's no company that's offering a sales service that hasn't had any failures. But I think that the businesses, even in the worst times, understood that we did everything that we could, right? Building a call center isn't like installing a roof, right?
Exactly.
There is a lot of linear processes with it, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong, especially after it's built, right? One of the biggest challenges that we've seen is sales reps burning the leads. I mean, I remember one time we onboarded this big solar group, and they had district managers, and we were in like 10 different states, generating hundreds of appointments a week, but it went bust. Well, what happened? None of the managers were passing on the leads. Everyone had their own system here. Everyone had their own system there, right? So I think that's one of the reasons why, it's been so good and people have been so understanding, is that, listen, this is a substantial investment. It has the opportunity to add millions to your bottom line. We have several clients doing over
tens of millions,
tens of millions, exactly. We have several clients doing over 100 deals a month just from cold calling with their call center.
Yeah.
So
what were they doing prior? Like what were they doing prior?
Most of our companies are doing door knocking prior, right? So a lot of
what kind of numbers were they doing though? I mean,
like 10 to 20 deals a month.
10 to 20. So they 10x with you essentially.
Pretty much, yep.
That's awesome.
Well, one of the nicest things too is that having a call center plays with your ecosphere. So whether you're getting leads from PPC, door knocking, whether you're buying leads from your company, whatever that looks like, all of the leads are now piped through the call center, right? A lot of people don't realize on the doors, there's so much money that's ready to be unlocked. So if I go knock 100 doors and I talk with 20 people and I set 3 appointments, 17 people said, yeah, whatever. Those 17 people, or at least half of them, call it 8 people, can go inside the call center. So if I come to your door, we had a great chat for 2 minutes, but I couldn't get your electricity bill, couldn't set up a roof inspection, but we had some bit of rapport. I'm never coming back. work.
Yeah.
The new way to do things is update Sales Rabbit, update Spodio, update Rep Card, send that lead to the call center, and now let that call center continue the relationship. And you have so much money sitting there. So what I'm saying is that not only can it generate new opportunities through aged leads, through cold calling, but also monetize all of your existing lead channels. And you have so much gold sitting there you didn't even realize.
Yeah, it's amazing. God, you could talk. Dude, you got my head spinning. You made me realize how many moving parts are in it, and there's so many like new things that come out to make it. There's like QA for AI QA things out there.
We just implemented AI QA. It's incredible. I mean, we're beta testing right now with AI calling. I mean, this industry is shifting so rapidly. It's moving very, very fast.
Yeah. And you said something that I want to touch upon that I think is important for the audience. I mean, some guys in the audience have call centers, some don't. And whether you do or not, it comes down to, I always believe, I've heard somewhere that in life you get what you deserve.
Sure.
Or you get what you think you deserve, right? So if you're going after small buyers, you think you deserve small buyers. Yep. When you go after big buyers, you make that mentality shift, you're going to attract those big buyers.
Agreed.
And then the point is, you made me think, I remember I've been doing this shit for 8 fucking years. I have one chargeback.
Right.
And it was with a small ass buyer that he told me we qualify him.
Sure.
He told me he had his own call center. Turned out he didn't. And then he was living and dying off of every single lead. Every lead, like this person didn't answer. I'm like, bro, I don't have time for this shit. It's a fucking numbers game. What's going on? And then it got to the point where I'm like, I think we're gonna have to give you a refund. Like, I agree. So I'm like, okay, give me tomorrow. You know, I'm like, this is when it was just me and like 2 other people on my team. We were tiny. Now we're way bigger, but I would have had someone else do it. I had to go to dinner with my wife, do some stuff with the kids. Right. I'm like, tomorrow morning you have it completed. Right. The next morning I wake up, first thing in the morning, I had a charge back. I'm like, why the fuck did you do that, bro? I was gonna give you your money back. Yeah. And then like, the guy apologized, but the point is that's the difference when you're dealing with a small fish versus dealing with the bigger. The small fish the small fish are living and dying. Sure. Oh, I need to get this little crumb, a little more. So as a big fish, like they're not living and dying off every lead. You can give them some 100 leads. If like 90 suck, but those 10 are good, that's all they want. Sure. And they'll keep buying and buying. That's how you scale your business. So I love that you said that, because I think as media buyers, sometimes you get like, oh, let me take every single fucking deal I can. Yeah. You got to take the right deals that will give you the most bang for your buck at the end of the day. And I think you've mastered that, man.
And to touch on what you said for everyone watching this, don't deviate from your core principles.
Exactly.
So every time, we've given a bit of a discount or a cheaper package, almost every single time we got screwed in some way, whether these people are just incredibly demanding, whatever that looked like. So don't deviate from what you offer.
Yeah, stand firm. There's a book called Never Split the Difference, right? Yep. And he talks about that. You got to stand fucking firm, man. Don't budge.
Don't deviate.
Man.
It's not worth it.
It's scary. It's hard to do that.
Saying no, half the time they'll come back and agree to your terms.
Of course.
And if they don't, so be it. On to the next.
You negotiate from strict, especially now where you're at, where I'm at. We've been doing it so fucking long. People know we're the real deal. They know that we're not blowing smoke, and they see us, they respect us. We're doing this kind of shit, and bad news travels fast, man. Like I said, so that's one thing I'll say. My hat's off to you, because I know how hard it is running call centers, how hard building call centers. I mean, I probably built 5 or 6. You've built fucking hundreds, man. So that's incredible, right? And people look at me like I'm a call center whiz, and I know a lot about call centers, but this guy's on a whole nother level. So if you guys need some fucking help with your call center, that's why we bring people like him on the LFG show, because we want to bring the people that know what the fuck they're doing, that can help you go from point A to point Z as fast as possible without all the headaches, collapsing time frames. Any feedback on that?
You covered. You nailed it. You hit everything. I appreciate you bringing me on here, brother. You're the man.
Dude, you're great, man. I mean, we got to do more of this stuff. Yeah. How can people find out more about you?
They can go to ccdocs.com. That's CC as in call center and docs as in DOCS, short form for doctors. We also run Sales Talk with Roofing and Solar Pros. That's on Facebook. You just type that in the search bar, join our community, and let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. We got to do an Instagram live or a live one. We'll do one of those one day soon.
My body's ready.
Let's go. Let's make some fucking money, baby.
When's that?
Boom.
When's that? Half an hour?
Hit the comment.
Hit the like, comment, subscribe. You guys got to like, comment, subscribe, man.
Make it happen.
Let's grow this shit.